Hey Bethesda, remember 5 years ago when you teased Elder Scrolls 6 at E3 and got me and the rest of the gaming world so excited for your next AAA Game of the Year candidate open world RPG? Yeah, I do too. My brother and I were staying up late on a school night, and when we saw the announcement, we literally jumped for joy. I was 15 then. I'm 20 now. And as I typed the script, no Elder Scrolls 6, no news even. So what better way to cope than play the 11-year-old game and make a video talking about what I want to see in the next one. The list will be in no particular order, and this probably won't be the last list that I make on the subject. So with all of that being said, here are 5 things I want to see in the Elder Scrolls 6. First, this goes without saying, so I won't even count it as a part, I want to see a finished, polished project upon release. When you go on a 15 to 20 year hiatus when making a series of games, you better make sure the new one is excellent. Honestly, this will be more of an Elder Scrolls reboot than a new game in the series, so the game better be drop dead gorgeous. It needs to have a very smooth launch, and the game just has to be damn good. So, I know I said there would be no certain order to this list, but this is probably the most important part. The main story, the reason for the game. What will be the character's purpose? The question seems quite obvious to me, and probably most of the community, but I would enjoy seeing something involving the Great War, but it can't be the full culmination of the war in one game. Most of it has to occur off the screen in between games. I would enjoy if the actions of the main character sparked the war or sparked revolution. This would have to be an open-ended, however, unless they made the Aldmeri Dominion wholly evil, which they almost are. One thing Bethesda likes is cut-and-dry stories, the ones that end a certain way and no other. Due to this, they would either have to allow the character to side with the Aldmeri Dominion or make them extra evil. Personally, I enjoy the idea that I have had where the Dominion sells out to a Daedric prince in order to increase their power to help them conquer Tamriel. Or they could just make it so the only option was fighting the normal Dominion. While it would be fun, it would also feel quite shallow. The second thing I would like to discuss is the location of the game. It is all but confirmed that the game will take place in High Rock or Hammerfell, the home of the Bretons or the home of the Redguards. I raise you one and say we need the game to take place in both provinces. Political court intrigue taking place in High Rock under Imperial control mixed with an active conflict in Hammerfell is a match made in heaven. That is assuming the storyline will involve the coming of the Second Great War, which it should as previously stated. Both of these provinces together in one game would offer a great mix of familiar territory and exotic areas. By familiar territory, I do not mean seen in game, it just refers to the point that High Rock is very tame, similar to Cyrodiil. Hammerfell on the other hand offers deserts, jungles, and nearly everything in between. We haven't seen an exotic main playing space in an Elder Scrolls game since Morrowind, which is severely outdated at this point. We did have the Shivering Isles and Solstheim and Oblivion in Skyrim, but they weren't the main playing areas. I want to explore something that feels new. Another reason I want the game to include Hammerfell is because it is the last province that has Dwemer ruins that we have not explored, other than mainland Morrowind, that is. Personally, I feel the quest with Arniel Gain left many unanswered questions by the Dwemer, so it would be cool to see some sort of development on that. This combination of provinces would open the door for good DLC locations, such as Stros Makai and Orismer. While I would be happy with either province as long as it's done masterfully, I do think the best possible game would contain both provinces. Next up, I need to see some more role-playing options in the next game. I love creating characters, but in Skyrim each character felt quite similar. To accommodate this, I think the player character should be a nobody. They shouldn't be a demigod, they shouldn't be the chosen ones in the eyes of the Emperor. I know Elder Scrolls relies on fate for their characters, which is good, it ties into the world, but you shouldn't find out 2 hours into the main quest line. That's why I like Morrowind. While yes, you are some sort of chosen one demigod type character, it takes quite a while to discover this. In my perfect game, even if you are one of those chosen people, you should have to discover this yourself, and it should be very late down the line of the story. This opens the door for your character to be whoever they want, and even to have the game occur around the character to a certain point. I also believe to reinforce the point of being able to have many diverse characters, Bethesda should re-implement a class system. These just make the game feel more exciting to me. It also makes it seem more credible that your character has some predisposed skills, so they would be familiar with certain things, instead of everyone knowing how to shoot fire out of their hands, or how to dispatch a bandit easily with a sword. Lastly, I am a believer that guilds should be more strict in their recruiting process, or just incorporate their respective trade into the quest line. One thing that really irritated me in Skyrim was that you could complete the College of Winterhold whilst only casting a spell 3 or maybe 4 times throughout the duration of the entire questline, so maybe in the future to complete the Mages Guild you should have to have some sort of magical ability. The fourth humble request I would make of Bethesda is some better followers. Recently during my Skyrim Let's Play, I've been quite vocal in my disappointment in the Skyrim companions. Serana in-game is almost inarguably the best companion. She may not be your favorite, perhaps, but she is the best written. The only issue is she is only well written during the Dawnguard questline. Yes, the story partially revolves around her, but why would you make her a basic companion outside of the confines of the Dawnguard questline? I can deal with her not having much to say during the base game altercations because she was not around then, but she should be a fully fleshed out down the earth follower during the Dragonborn DLC at least, seeing as though it was released afterwards. Now, I do have genuine hope for this because of Fallout 4. Fallout 4 took great strides in improving companions. While yes, the Fallout franchise has always had better companions, I do think this is a good progression for both franchises. I would much rather have 8 to 10 fleshed out followers than 20 shallow ones. Last but not least, or maybe it is, I want an Elder Scrolls version of the Fallout 4 settlement system. Now, calm down, I don't mean a copy-pasted version, just an Elder Scrolls stylized version. High Rock is the land of feudal culture on Tamriel, and I see no reason why I shouldn't be able to adopt my own fiefdom. I would recommend a max of 4 to 6 locations available. I would also recommend that you can't get all of them in a single playthrough. They would also be extremely expensive and serve as a late game gold dump because we all know that you end up with hundreds of thousands of useless septums by the late game. There should also be plenty of homes within cities for you to live in. You should not be restricted to building your own places. I don't know how the building system in Fallout would work directly into the Elder Scrolls, so it would need to be simplified, but not to the point where it's like Hearthfire Home. I'm not a game designer, so don't come to me to design this whole system. After all, Bethesda needs to keep a job. Elder Scrolls 6 is still a long way off, so who knows, maybe somebody will stumble across this video. They won't. All of these additions or requisites, or whatever you may call them, will make for a much better game in the end, at least in my opinion they will. These are just 5 things off of my long wish list of Elder Scrolls 6. If you have ideas, let me know down below.